Good morning, everyone. All right. So, big day Friday, right? Jobs report, down day. Really not a big deal so far. As we look around, I think it was just initially just a reaction to several days up into resistance. So, we got a trading range, and we'll see what happens as we wait for more data this week. And, the Fed announcement, which is believed to be a quarter. Some people say a half next week, which also coincides with an options expiration. So I think next week is the main focal point of the event. And this week is what data comes out to confirm last week's data. Now we'll see. Qs are at the top of the trading range. So it was, I guess, a natural event that there was going to be sellers after the bottom of the trading range, near the top of the trading range, and gapping up there. And it rattled around for a little while. The surprising part was the velocity at it, how it went down. It was, so many suppose thinking the same thing, and just everything just fell so sharply. That's what leads us to some extent to think, could this be the beginning of a turn in the September correction, and so on and so forth. I mean, we'll just have to see. Right. So it's always in hindsight that we say, oh, there was the reversal day that was the top, and so on. So looking at the weekly chart and the advance that happened last week, there's nothing wrong. It's just been a one, two, three, four, five, about a 6 week consolidation, give or take. Well, these 5 weeks, the closes are about the same area. So it's just been an erratic, choppy thing. Uh, Plenty of things are deteriorating. You know, Individual stocks, while the market does this corrective thing, there's still a lot of good-looking things, but it's one of these points where we say accidents happen, and our internals aren't even lined up to say, risk off. So picking the right things and some common sense. Don't buy stuff that's at the top of a trading range. You have to move up from the bottom of the trading range. Um, Gapping up here today in the middle of yesterday's bar. So somewhat positive start, more neutral, I suppose, but not going anywhere here. So our job on a day-to-day basis at the beginning of the day is to put things in perspective. And so neutral. We're going to see which way things go, and wait for tomorrow, which non-farm payrolls at 10 o'clock tomorrow. And then the big days are Wednesday and Thursday with the PPI and the CPI data. All right. So back to what's happening here today. Nothing wrong with the Russell. Held up really well yesterday. It had the same, you know, everything got sold. It was like, oh my gosh, that's over, big red candle, and it came clawing its way back. One of the things that clawed its way back, most things just didn't do much of anything the rest of the day after the little advance, but a decent weekly chart. Looks like it could go higher. Alerts under the prior weekly bar's low, which is this low right here, which when trading starts today, this software anyway will mark it as a pivot low and major support. It's not extended from the moving averages. They're moving up together, 20 above the 50 and pointing higher. Bullish. Diamonds, rising moving averages, but the breakout has gone nowhere for a couple of weeks now. Um, Gapping up a little bit. Just waiting to see. Is it going to break out, or what is it going to do? Um, a little bit of rejection from the high, the new high there. but positive, but not going anywhere. So we're waiting. All right. Let's go look at the transports, which didn't do much of anything. They got, tried to go up on Friday like many things did and got rejected. But look at the candle bodies. Look at the moving averages. Just nothing happening here. And it's just back and forth, back and forth. You got buyers on the dip, sellers on the advance, just consolidation waiting for news. Oh, internet looks great. All right. So September, who cares? New highs. Looks great. Buy the pullback. This is one of the software ones. This one doesn't trade as actively, but this has been messy. But the other one, IVG, is more active, IGV. Um, and so looking at this, is it making a retest and reversal? It's downtrending, but I'm looking at this thinking, oh, software stocks has been beaten down. We should be looking at some of those to see what's showing relative strength. This going sideways, it's at this resistance. What is it going to do? It's gapping up to the place where it turned. So probably today would be, let's see what it can do. Does it hold up there? And the weekly chart is constructive. Uptrend, pullback, bottoming tail bar, gap down reversal. Little sideways price action here would be exactly what we'd like to see for this to be able to move higher. So we need more data. Telecom is strong. That looks great. Home builders, certainly to me, they're going higher. Right? Big gap down on that week and up. Got room to resistance. Uptrend, rising moving averages, not extended. A couple of days up. Or you look at a 15-minute chart. Yeah, it's extended. Big deal. Right? So it gapped up. Interest rates, which we're going to take a look at, coming down. Biotech's looking great. It looks like it's going higher. Metals, of course, gold, is moving up. And, we could look and see what steel is doing and copper and so on, all of that. I think copper's been beaten down. I had it on here for a while. I forget the symbol. I don't think it's HQ. That's heating oil. So this is copper miners, I think. Looks great. Yeah. Yep, COPX or COP. COPX. CPER. Thank you, Alex. Yeah. So copper miners look amazing. I don't know what this was. I don't know if that was some kind of an adjustment or it really came down that way. Anyway, copper miners are going up. All right. Interestingly, and I mentioned it in the video over the weekend, something is going on under the surface, meaning this dollar should be going down. And with the drop that in short-term interest rates, and it's holding up there just great. And so I think this is, I think I need whatever I think has to be proven. Right? When we're thinking, we need proof of the analysis. But I see this showing relative strength to the drop in short-term interest rates. And as you could see, it's bottoming out. It hasn't been able to clear the highs, but it's been going sideways for several months. And historically, when we have short-term interest rates plummeting like this, the dollar goes down, and it's not. In addition, with this going down as much as it has in a very short period of time, the debate as to will they cut or not cut, I think the last thing I looked at the CME tool right, which does move a lot sometimes, was over 85% cut, very minimal, whatever the number was. I think it was in the teens as far as half a point versus a quarter, which was like 85+%. But the way this dropped like that, to entertain the thought of, is 0.5% possible? Well, sure, depending on the news this week on the economic data. But I mean, this is a tremendous drop in a short amount of time. So the market certainly believes they're going to cut, right? And we'll see how much they do. And then the 10-year fell, right? That dropped down sharply, coming out of the smaller trading range, and looks like it's moving down to the bottom of the larger trading range that we've been talking about for months. So slowing in the economy, you think, well, that also could mean no inflation, no, a belief that no inflation, but you look at the price of gold and somebody thinks that there's going to be inflation or worries for some reason for gold to be going up like this, new all-time highs, and silver is also moving up. Looks great, like it's going to go higher. I'm just rattling around here this morning. And so not that we look at these currencies each morning, but if the dollar's holding up, these have to be going, some of them have to be going sideways. And so we'll see the euro is up here this morning, but at the top of the range. We'll see what that does. It's just interesting to me that the dollar is holding up so well. So there's something going on as far as, I don't know, economics, what's going on in the world. Normally the dollar would be dropping, and it's not. All right. Gold miners look amazing. They're extended. Certainly look vulnerable, and they're gapping up here this morning. That they're certainly vulnerable to a pullback. All right. And crude oil broke down. It's holding up here this morning. More news of more supply. So inflation, oil keeps going down. That's certainly that's a good event for oil. If it continues to move down, you wonder why gold is going up as it is, and interest rates moving down. And so the markets, but the market participants, there's some confusion out there. Things aren't moving in lockstep. In this weekend's letter I used, as we looked at different things, I used the analogy of a tug of war. Depending on what you're looking at, it suggests one thing, and you look at others and it suggests the other. And so that means that there's uncertainty out there. So whatever you're going to trade the ones that set up with your plan, that are with the trend and at support or at resistance, and so on. All right. Solar, get in the room. Yeah, Thomas, we'll take a look. Um, take a look at that. All right. So the other thing, the negative thing that happened was financials got clobbered, with the interest rates coming down. So jobs report, interest rates moving down, big financials got sold, brokers got sold, and KRE, on the other hand, I have that in here. It held up relatively well. It's probably in there somewhere. That held up, it was down on Friday, but that held up relatively well. So the takeaway here is, I think there's going to be more buyers on the dip until something of more significance happens. The internals are not telling us, be careful, any more careful than we normally are. And we'll see what happens the rest of the week. All yours, Dan.
Mhm. Couple questions here on social media, let's take a look at those. ELN long. It's in a trading range. I wouldn't trust it over the high unless it really had a closing breakout. And I don't like this greater than 100%. Ideally, it would go give you another inside bar or two first. Jose Sigel. I don't know if you're I personally would not swing a pattern like that. Only if you got a intraday set up, and I don't like the way it trades intraday, so I don't like it. Sid G. Yeah, we're actually in this one, but it's up 4 bars. We legged into a covered call, but I like it. Daily, weekly, monthly look great. And look at solar, had a nice gap breakout on Friday. Look at that. So CMC. It looks like a chunky bottoming pattern. I like UNH better. My alarm went off. This one's better than CNC. We actually had this in the weekend letter to buy, and it's gapping over the entry. Sophie, you don't have a good void here with these 4 bars to the left, and also extended 15 at resistance. So not crazy about that either. Let's look at my alarms and see if I have some better ideas for you. SBTU. Yeah, we were talking about that in the green room on Friday. The thing ripped. Too extended for me. You need a pullback. But weekly, monthly look good. MA short. You need a 1, 2, 3, unless you work a intraday. Talking about shorts here. Look at RSG. We had this as a short. Let me check level 1, because if this is opening up at 233, then I don't like it. Hold on, let me send a note to subscribers. Because then, it could be a breakdown failure. And waste management. So look at both those are better looking shorts, but they're down a lot. So we just got to work our entry. But see, closing breakdown, bearish weekly, monthly. Ring alarm. That's a better long. Wide range closing breakout, bullish weekly, monthly. Forever ASGN. It's right. I don't like the close either, but it's still okay. It's not a reason to exit. So I'd just keep a stop. Third, whatever the lower of those 2 bars. CPB is a better long also. Bear sandwich. A bear sandwich we define as big green bars to the left and right of a big red bar in the middle. That has a void. Bullish weekly, monthly for a bounce. Chewy. It's up 3 bars, but I gave this as a put spread. The gap up's gonna make it where we don't get filled. Reddit, same. I didn't like it as a directional, but it was a put spread, gapping up, so we're probably not gonna get filled. Like G-Gals. Actually, we have a put spread on this, and that is a nasty gap. I don't know what the heck's going on there. Grupo Financiero. UNH I talked about. IWM we have as a put spread. over 238, so it's gapping over the entry. So that's fine if you get filled. Let me tell our subscribers. Yeah, brokers got chilled on Friday. Yeah, Interactive Brokers. We actually had it as a long watch. And look at Schwab. So both of these look horrible. Greg showed you the XLF. Yeah, they got whacked. CELF. There's a double top. That's an M top. Now it started from a pro gap. It's extended. So that would be a great call spread also. Well, we're active traders, so let's put it on the list. Those are all my alarms. There's only one earning stock, Papa Lima. That's a gap breakout. That's worth watching. Papa Lima here in the middle. All right. A couple after the close on Friday, these three companies got added to the S&P, gapping up $40. So this could be a 30-minute low call spread. Now, see, this gap up on the news of being added to the S&P 500 is different than when I just shake my head when Buffett or an activist comes out and says, "Oh, I've been accumulating," and then it gaps up 10%. Now, the reason this one's different is just because of the forced buying of it for funds that mimic the major index. So that's the difference. Wow. So what's that doing? What's that doing to the entire market? Because why would GCal be getting hit so bad? So what? I don't know the ETF for Argentina. All right, Hood added. Let's see, that's a bullish gap. That's a bullish gap. So I would not want to do a call spread on this, but that APP, I think is a candidate 30-minute low. EME got added, and that's a bullish gap. So I wouldn't. Well, it's not taken out that high. And this got kicked out, but it's gapping up. 180. Well, actually, it's flat. Wait, no, my bad. Wait, I don't see. I'm confused here, unless I lost my pre-market data. No. All right, I don't see it gapping up. I don't see any prints. And Caesars got kicked out, but no pattern. EMPH. I forget the news on him, but it's a bottoming pattern. Playboy won a lawsuit, gapping up, but no good pattern. TDG, I think, got a downgrade, but there's another short watch. Look at daily weekly breakdown. That looks good. Sats could be. Look at this. It went up to 110. I was hoping it was going to gap up over 100, and then that would have been a great gap and crap candidate. I'm going to put that in a window. Sets. Chical getting killed. And what's this other one? APP, I'll watch. AESI, I had as a short watch, but I see it capping up. SanDisk, things like this, I just love when they give you a blow off, not gapping up another $10. But I will watch this for an entry on a call spread. ASTS, I don't know the news, but that's getting an ugly haircut. And it looks lower. Verizon, we actually had on our long list. I just didn't like 3 up bars to resistance. But I don't know what's up with that pre-market. Look at these China stocks. Remember when they had earnings over here and they were igniting breakouts? Wow, that's gapping up $8. But yeah, I was saying I thought these things were nice bottoms on the weekly, monthly. Look at Baba. That was an igniting gap right there. Weekly, monthly was a buy setup. Thank you, Patrick. No, yeah, thank you. All right, K-Web, gapping to the prior highs, but that's still looks higher. All right, that's that. Let's just go up here. We have less than a minute. Octo, when you get a big gap like this, I just immediately think it's a bio, but it's not. I looked it up and it said it's packaging. So why the heck is this gapping up a packaging company? It doesn't look, it's not a buyout. Buyouts gap up and go sideways. It's pre-market. I don't know what's going on with that. WHD alarm, bottoming pattern. Etsy up alarm. This was a climb we did on major support. Looks good. We have long calls. Diamond's the weakest here, already filled the gap. Let's tighten our stop now. 53.34. Meta up alarm. That was a put spread idea. Oops, yeah, RSG half lot is triggering. Let's see, we have the 51 calls. Wow, the spreads are ludicrous. But you know the drill, how I taught you on an intrinsic value. Yeah, QS. Shoot, I forgot to mention that. That was the next stock I was going to mention pre-market, and I ran out of time. Etsy, it just hit 56, so you can probably sell it for closer to 550. Yeah, QS, well, the gap's too big now, but yeah, you see I had it in the bottom right here. Meta, Meta's a go if you get filled. Let me see what I gave. $732. It's only 40 cents, and I wanted 75. So we'll just leave it for now, but that's the best well, Tesla gapped up too. Uh, no, and there's no pattern on Tesla though. Meta's has a nice pattern. Apple week here. Apple has their some annual conference or whatever tomorrow. Google's still ripping, well, not ripping, but holding those gains in March. And Amazon, I read they're going to stop their sharing of Prime starting in August. October 1, I read, which stinks because I'm on Prime with my sister's account. So, they're doing, as soon as Netflix did it, where they stopped all those sharings and limited it, and you got to pay more money. I agreed with it. I was shocked. I was shocked that they let it go on for that many years. And then I actually was thinking the identical thing that 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 means Amazon. That means Amazon was going to be the next one to do it. So we shorted half a lots. Early. Yeah, that was on our list the other day. Hmm, that's fine. Stop has to be Friday's low. Q's holding very well here. Balance, but looks bad. All right, IWM, did it open? Over 238, so 233 should be getting filled on this pullback. Yeah, 60 cents. All right, so IWM got filled. Right, so Greg, we gotta ask Robert then. So I don't know what to say. Here we also should have gotten filled. Greg Chewy is 15. And Reddit, yeah, so all these are getting filled on pullbacks. Reddit. Isler has not triggered. Meta, not film. Netflix has to get up Friday. Ring. Yes, my alarm went off and I missed it. I mean, I just didn't get to it. Where did we click later?